And then moving on to feminism and feminist art. So the act of feminist art, impact of feminist art was largely related to the social and political movements of the 1970s, right? Artists sought to create a specifically female art rooted in the biological, psychological, social, and historical experiences of women. And early feminism also served to draw attention to many living women artists whose long careers had not received significant recognition, right? And a great example of that is Judy Chicago's The Dinner Party. So this is a very large-scale piece. It was created collaboratively with helps of hundreds of women and a few men, arranged around a huge triangular table or 39 place settings, each one to honor a different influential woman throughout history, from Hatshepsut to Virginia Woolf. An additional 999 women's names are carved into the cement floor. So Chicago demanded artistic equality for media that long been associated with women's work, also the expressive outlet of setting and decorating a table. There's a nice little close-up of a couple of place settings. There's Virginia Woolf right there. And postmodernism, a new climate of thought arose during the 1980s. This was called postmodernism, literally meaning the new phase of modernism, right? And it included the notion that there may be no such thing as progress in art, and that the history of art is far more complex than has been recorded, which is probably very true. So pluralism is the idea that art can take many simultaneous directions, all of them equally valid. So this is Renzo Piano and Richard Rogers, George Pompidou National Center of Art and Culture in Paris from 1977. Looks like a building turned inside out, and they refer to it as a Jules Verne spaceship that can fly. Had to look very futuristic in the 70s. So postmodernism follows that all artists borrow ideas in one way or another, right? And kind of the idea that no art is 100% original. And then appropriation, when an artist recycles an existing image, he or she acknowledges that image circulation in such vast quantities through society that they have become a public resource that anyone can use. And Sherry Levine's 1991 fountain, very much appropriating Duchamp's, right? No homage to him, no mention of him, no honoring him in any way, shape, or form. Just kind of messed up. And then the following are included as postmodern styles in media: painterly images, and words, images, issues, and ideas. So postmodernist ideas about meaning, creativity, and the artist as authority are at play in this piece by Damien Hirst. It's called The Physical Impossibilities of Death in the Mind of Someone Living. So the work, which was commissioned by a prominent London art collector, consisted of a dead tiger shark that Hirst purchased and suspended in a tank of formaldehyde. So in some ways, the work is a meditation on death, with the dead shark representing our own mortality. It's also an exploration of images in terms of what is real and what is simulation. Most people are afraid of sharks mostly because of pictures, but this shark is real and yet can't hurt us, right? It's treated as an art object, and it's displayed in a gallery. This picture is kind of interesting. And then this is survival, so definitely a piece working with text, right? One of a series of works in which the artist inserted words that closely resemble advertising slogans into very public places, from New York City to Las Vegas, lots of big cities throughout the world. And then this is Silence Equals Death from 1987. So the work is simple yet bold, with a pink triangle on a black background. The pink triangle was adapted from the badge that Nazis made gay male prisoners wear in concentration camps. So the poster's design chose the Nazi badge for its association with death, but inverted the triangle to empower the gay community. So the posters The effect was immediate, and it quickly became a symbol for the fight against AIDS during that time. It was starting to become very prominent in the United States, especially in New York. So artists associated with the feminist movement of the 1970s and the gay activism of the 80s were instrumental in opening the art world to works that addressed human identities and issues. Just as American culture in general became more aware of the many identities it embraced and all too often silenced. Which is kind of a sad thing about what humans do, right, to each other. And perhaps the most complicated, in America especially, is racism, right? So this is a piece by Kara Walker. It's an installation of paper silhouettes titled Africant. It uses biting wit to depict race relations before the U.S. Civil War. So a host of characters drawn from Southern archetypes, such as plantation owners and slaves, are arrayed across the wall. Everyone engages in terrible and sometimes perverse acts, and seeing these acts takes time because the paper silhouettes appear at first to be genteel and elegant. Walker chose this medium for its lack of faces and other descriptive surface details. And we can look at the subjects but not really see them. She considered this an appropriate metaphor for racism. We see it, but we do not really see it, right? Or we see it and we don't do anything about it. Or we see it, but we don't say anything. So she reminds us how horrific this period of enslavement, violence, and rape was for African Americans. Very strong and contrasting piece. And then the digital realm, the development of digital technologies during the last 2 decades of the 20th century allowed images and sounds to be encoded and transmitted as patterns of numbers and shared over the internet, right? Artists were quick to explore the digital realm and what it could do for their art. And coding, which I think is awful, became a necessary thing for making art on the internet, right? It's one of the first pieces of internet art to earn widespread recognition was this series of black and white images by Olia Leilani called My Boyfriend Came Back from the War. So she created it in 1996, the year that frames were added to HTML. Frames allowed designers to partition a web page so that it could display more than one image, right? So she created this piece to take advantage of the storytelling possibilities of this new feature. And through images and short sentences displayed in 4 independent frames, the piece evokes the awkward conversation of a couple trying to reconnect after being separated. Users cause the conversation to unfold by clicking on the frames, and the low speed of the internet at the time added to the awkwardness of it. Because there'd be long pauses, right? Some of you may be too young to remember that, but trust me,